solving equations quadratic in form. We need to rewrite this equation so that it's a quadratic, meaning it's going to have x to the second in it. So your strategy is to use the variable in the middle term to rewrite this equation. So we're going to rewrite x to the fourth as x squared to the second minus, we'll have 3x squared minus 10 equals 0. And we're going to substitute and say w is going to be equal to x squared. So we now have w squared minus 3w minus 10 equals 0. And this is very easily solved by factoring. We'll have w minus 5, w plus 2. So w equals 5, w equals negative 2. Now substituting our x squared for the w, we'll have x squared equals 5 and x squared equals negative 2. Taking the square root of both sides, x will equal plus and minus the square root of 5. X will equal plus and minus the square root of 2i. And be careful not to put the I underneath the radical sign. Next equation, again, look at the variable in the middle term. And we can rewrite this as x to the negative 1 squared minus x to the negative 1 minus 12 equals 0. And again, we'll do our substitution. We'll say w equals x to the negative 1. So we'll have w squared minus w minus 12 equals 0. Again, very easily solved by factoring. We'll have w minus 4, w plus 3. W will equal 4. W will equal negative 3. Now substituting for our w, we'll have x to the negative 1 equals 4. And x to the negative 1 equals negative 3. Now remember, x to the negative 1 is the same as 1 over x. So 1 over x equals 4. 1 over x equals negative 3. Since you have one term on each side, you can take the reciprocal of both sides of each equation. So x will equal 1/4. X will equal negative 1/3. All right, last equation has fractions in for the exponents. Again, your strategy is look at that variable in the middle term. So we'll have x to the 1/3 squared minus 5 times x to the 1/3 minus 24 equals 0. Our substitution w will be w equals x to the 1/3. So rewriting this, we'll have w squared minus 5w minus 24 equals 0. Again, a quadratic now, very easily solved by factoring. So we'll have w minus 8 times w plus 3 equals 0. W equals 8, w equals negative 3. Back substituting, we have x to the 1/3 equals 8. And then we have x to the 1/3 equals negative 3. What we'll need to do here is cube both sides of each equation to undo the 1/3 power. So this will give us x equals 8 to the 3rd, which is 512. And here we'll have x equals negative 3 to the 3rd, which is negative 27. And because you cubed both sides of each equation, you don't need to check your answers. If you remember when you solved radical equations before. Only when you raise both sides to even powers do you have to check your solutions back in the original equation.